Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for joining this morning's Sri Caitanya Caritamrta session. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you. So we have His Grace Visnugada Das Prabhu from ISKCON, Philadelphia, and he will be enlightening us on Caitanya Caritamrta Adi, chapter 2, verse number 13 and 14. So Prabhu, whenever you are ready, you can start the session.
Sure. Who's in charge of the screen?
I will be taking care of that, Prabhu, today.
Okay. So we've been, for Caitanya Caritamrta, we've been chanting Parama Karuna. I don't know if we can get that.
Okay.
And then in the course of the discussion, I wanted to highlight some pictures. So I don't know if you can have you can share the screen with me at some point. I'll let you know if that's okay.
Yeah, I will make you a co-host, so you should be able to.
Okay. Thank you. Parama Karuna Pahu Dvijan Nitai Gaurachandra Parama Karuna Pahu Dvijan Nitai Gaurachandra Shab Avatar Shar Shiramani Kevala Ananda Kanda Shab Avatar Shar Shiramani Kevala Ananda Kanda Bhaja Bhaja Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sudridha Vishvashakari Bhaja Bhaja Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sudridha Vishvashakari Vishayacharya Sera se Majia Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari Vishayacharya sera se majia mukhe bolo hari hari. Dekha ore bhai tribhuvane nai emono doyala data. Dekha ore bhai tribhuvane nai emono doyalo data. Pashu paki jure pashana vidare shuni jar gunagata. Pashu paki jure pashana vidare shuni jar gunagata. Sangsare majia rohili poria sepode nohilo asha. Sangsare majia rohili podia sepode nohilo asha. Apana koroma bhunjaye shamana kohoye lochana dasa. Apana karama bhunjaye shamana kohoye lochandasa. Parama karuna pavu dvijan nitai gorachandra. Parama karuna pavu dvijan nitai gorachandra. Shab avatar shar shiramani kevala ananda kanda. Shab avatar shar shiramani kevala ananda kanda. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajak Acharya Ashtotara Satashishim on His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrindi ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivash Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shamaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Prem Anande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga Hari Hari Bol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading and studying and discussing this Caitanya Caritamrta written by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. We're at Adi-Lila, the second chapter, and here we are at the 13th verse. This is Bengali. Charma chakshe deke jaiche surya nirvishesha jnana marge loite nare krishner vishesha. Charma chakshe deke jaiche surya nirvishesha jnana marge loite nare krishner vishesha. Charma chakshe deke jaiche surya nirvishesha Jnana marge loite nare krishner vishesha.
Charma chakshe dekhe jaiche surya nirvishesha jnana marge laite nare krishnera vishesha.
Anyone else would like to chant? This is a Bengali language.
चर्म चक्षे देखे जाय छे सूर्य निर्विशेष ज्ञान मार्गे लयते नारे कृष्णेर विशेष.
Very good. Very good. Anyone else? Yeah.
Charma chakshe deke yeche surya nirvishesha jnana marge lete nare krishnera vishesha.
Good. Yeah. So in Bengali, I'm not an expert in Bengali, but I know a few things. So you might, learning to pronounce the Sanskrit, that's a little challenge. Probably one of the most challenging things for Westerners or people not practicing Sanskrit or Hindi language is the difference between the long A and the short A, especially if it's followed by an R. Right? So what is that? When you action and reaction, the Karma, how do you say that? How do you pronounce that? Karma? Go ahead. You can.
Yeah, in Hindi or Sanskrit it'll be karma.
Yeah, but because we're Westerners, we want to say karma, right?
Karma.
Because always with that following an R, it's got to be karma. So that's the biggest challenge. One of the main challenges for Westerners to differentiate between the short A, and the long A, karma. Yeah. So paying attention. And then of course the C is always CH, cha, like people want to say Caitanya, or it's Chaitanya, but C is always CH. So, but then Bengali is another thing, because in Bengali, almost practically all the S's are sha, like S, sha. So like Srila Prabhupada, you hear him say, the six, what are those mendicants in Vrindavan, there's 6 of them, how do you say it? Those mendicants living in Vrindavan, they were disciples or followers of Lord Chaitanya.
Shad Goswami.
Yeah, six Goswamis. Goswami, because in Bengal mostly SH. Almost all S's are like SH. Goswami. Even though we say that Krishna, that food that we take that's been offered to the Lord is called Krishna Prasad, right? Prasad. But it's actually, it's not a SH, but because we have a Bengali accent, it's Prasad. Okay, so this is Bengali. Sometimes you can get an authentic Bengali person to chant it. It's very nice, very, very musical. Okay. and the prayer that we sang previously also, that was in Bengali language. And you know why we chant that? I chose that prayer. Any idea? Parama Karuna Pahu Dvijan Nitai Gaura Chanda. Any idea? There's so many prayers about Lord Chaitanya. Why choose that prayer?
Because I think that prayer expresses the most merciful mood of the Lord.
Yes, good. But that's not the reason. The reason I chose that prayer is because when Srila Prabhupada spoke about Lord Caitanya from Chaitanya Charitamrta, guess what prayer he chanted? Parama Karuna. Yeah. Parama Karuna, topmost mercy. Pahu Dvijan, these two lords. Prabhu means Prabhu. Pahu Dvijan, these two lords. Who are they? Nitai Gaura Chanda, Lord Nityananda and Chaitanya. Okay. So we chanted this verse, Adi 2.13. Let's read the translation. As with the naked eye, one cannot know the sun except as a glowing substance. Merely by philosophical speculation, one cannot understand Lord Krishna's transcendental varieties. Okay, next. Oh, okay, here we go. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti kotishvashesha vasudhari vibhuti bhinnam tad brahma nishkalamanantamashesha bhutang govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. This, anybody familiar with this verse? From? Where is this from?
Yes, Prabhu, this is from Brahma Samhita.
Good. Yeah. Yes. So do you want to chant this verse too? It's a very nice verse. Go ahead.
Sure, I will try. Yashya prabha prabhavato jagat andakoti koteshva shesha vasudhadi vibhuti bhinnam tad brahma nishkalam anantam ashesha bhutam govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami.
Thank you. So the synonyms there, yasya, of whom, prabha, the effulgence, prabhavata, of one who excels in power, jagat anda, of the universes, koti, kotishu, in millions and millions, koti, kotishu, ashesha, unlimited, vasudha adi, with planets, vibhuti, with opulences, bhinnam, becoming variegated, that, Brahman, nishkalam, without parts, anantam, unlimited, ashesha bhutam, being complete, govindam, Lord Govinda, adi purusham, the original person, tam, him, aham, I, bhajami, worship. Translation. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is endowed with great power. The glowing effulgence of his transcendental form is the impersonal Brahman, which is absolute, complete, and unlimited, and which displays the varieties of countless planets with their different opulences in millions and millions of universes. Purport. As dear Krishna Prabhu mentioned, this verse appears in the Brahma Samhita, 5th chapter, 40th verse. Each and every one of the countless universes is full of innumerable planets with different constitutions and atmospheres. All these come from the unlimited, non-dual Brahman, or complete whole, which exists in absolute knowledge. The origin of that unlimited Brahman effulgence is the transcendental body of Govinda, who is offered respectful obeisances as the original and supreme personality of Godhead. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamayam Dadati Sha Pandantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this part of the Caitanya Caritamrta, I think you have a Caitanya Caritamrta verse once a week in your classes, is that right? Once a week or so?
No, Prabhu. So far, we have been reading in this session only.
Yeah, but how often do you have? Because mostly it's true.
Yeah, once or twice in a week.
Once a week or twice a week. Okay. Yeah. So in this section of the Caitanya Caritamrta, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the author, has he's got a particular purpose here in this section. Do you know what that purpose is? Any ideas what the purpose might be? No? You don't want to speak?
Purpose of this verse, right?
This whole section, this whole chapter.
That he is actually trying to establish that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes. So not that just on a whim or by some sentiment, but that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami will use shastric evidence from various Vedic literatures, and to establish that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not only a great personality, as many people would accept him as a great person, but the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And which incarnation? There's so many different kinds of incarnations. There's Lord Vishnu, there's Paramatma, there's Yuga avatars, everything. So he's actually not just an incarnation, but the source of incarnations. And he's going to use Vedic references to help us understand and come to grips with that truth. So this is very interesting. And so in this one, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is quoting this prayer by Lord Brahma, describing that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, is the source of the impersonal effulgent Brahman, and which is the resting place of all the universes, millions and millions, koti, millions and millions of universes, and in each universe there's thousands and unlimited planets. And that same Krishna is the Supreme. He's going to make the point that same Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, also known as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is a big deal. It's a big deal. Usually, very common understanding in India and even other religions also is you think of God as being a great power or great light. The yogis and jnanis, they tend to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a bright, undifferentiated light. That's called the Brahma Jyoti. And that's as far as it goes. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the very beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Vyasadeva explains that there's different steps or different features of understanding the absolute truth. The verse he gives there is Vadanti tattva vidas tattvam yaj jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate. Vadanti tattva vidas. Those tattvavits. Tattvavit means people who actually know what's true. No fake news. People who actually know what's true, they say, Vadanti, Vadanti Tattvam Yajnanam Advayam. They say this, that's all, the Supreme Absolute is non-dual. It's one, but there are features, there are aspects of that one Supreme Truth. Brahmeti, the Brahman aspect, this impersonal Brahman. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, the localized aspect, which is the expansion of Krishna within the hearts of all living entities. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya chaham ridishani vishto matap smritir jnanam apohanam cha. I'm situated within everybody's heart, within your and my heart. And from me, knowledge, mata smritir, remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness, they come from me. And Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, and Bhagavaniti Shabdyate. They say these three things, but the last word of the Vedanti, the Tattvavits, is the understanding of God as a person. As we say, as Lord Brahma says, Adi Purusham, of the original person. You and I, and everybody, we're all persons. And if we go back and we check, your father and mother happen to be persons. And their father and mother also were persons. And you'll go back and back and back, and you'll find persons. Never would you see that a person came from a non-person or a blob. And the original person, that's Adi Purusham, that's Govinda or Krishna. But because this blinding light that is the energies, the rays of Lord Krishna's body is very powerful and very blinding, some people on the early stages, in the beginning stages of spiritual realization, they mistake that as all in all. There's nothing beyond that all-pervading light. And this generally, and so they generally consider that, therefore, that God is impersonal, or he has no personality. Just like this is called, technically it's called Parinambad. We're going to learn about this later in the Caitanya Caritamrta, when Lord Caitanya meets the Mayavadi sannyasis of Benares, Kashi, and he discusses with them the interpretation of Vedanta Sutra. So the Parinambad of the impersonalist is, they say that when God creates this world, all these universes, he loses his individual identity. He uses himself up when he transforms himself or himself into all the aspects of the material world, both beings, conscious beings, and unconscious beings. So like it's, if you take a piece of paper, one big piece of paper, and you tear it up into little pieces and distribute it around the room, so the original piece of paper, what happened to it? No more, right? So in a similar way, the impersonalist philosophers, they say that when the universe is created, God no longer has any individual existence. He's spread out everywhere, like that piece of paper. Although, in the to a certain extent, that's true, that he spreads himself out everywhere. But according to the Vedic conclusion, he never loses his individuality. The first shloka, or the invocation of the Ishopanishad, is Om Purnam Ada Purnamidam. How does it go? Purnat Purnam Udachyate, Purnasya Purnam Adaya, Purnam Eva Avashishyate. So the personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because he is completely perfect, all the emanations from him, like this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. And even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains complete. So this is a refutation of the Parinamvad, the transformation of energies described by the impersonalist philosophers. God can create everything, but not be diminished in any sense himself. Lord Caitanya gives the example of a touchstone. A touchstone can turn many different metals into gold, but itself is not transformed. So God is like that. He can create so many things, so many individual living entities, and so many planets, stars, moons, etc. But he remains undiminished. That's his power. So this idea is strong, very nicely put here by Lord Brahma. And in generally the world religions, it becomes it's a mystery how God appears. You know, sometimes, let's see, I don't know if I can get it on my screen now. How do we do this?
You can, Prabhu, you can just click on that new share.
Where's that new share?
There should be a green button on the top of your screen with an arrow, upward arrow.
Oh, I don't see.
Oh, okay. The same control tab where you mute or unmute
I
yourself.
see you were viewing ISKCON of Harrisburg screen.
Yeah, if you just scroll your mouse there,
Okay.
then you should see a new share upward button, green button.
I don't see, no. I just see it's custom streaming service, recording, view options. No, I'm sorry about this. Request remote control, side-by-side mode, stop participant sharing. I don't know. Oh, here it is, down at the bottom, share screen, got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, got it. It faked me out. It was supposed to, okay. Look at this. Can we see this? Can you see this?
Not yet. Did you click on that, Prabhu?
Where do I click on?
Share your screen.
I click share screen, yeah. Oh, okay. So it says you got to click multiple people can do it at the same time. And then we don't see, no?
Not yet.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Dear Krishna, Prabhu, for the where it says the share button on your screen, you should have an arrow that says one participant can share at a time, another one that says multiple people can share simultaneously. You have to click the multiple one. Then only Visnugada Prabhu can share his screen.
Oh, because I already unshared, so he should be able to do it. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Now we can see that.
This one. See this?
Yes.
Okay. So you see that up in the corner? What does that say? Biblical Contradiction Award. See that? No man hath seen God at any time. John 1:18. And the Lord spake to Moses face to face as a man speaketh unto a friend. Jacob said, I have seen God face to face and my life is preserved. So this is, of course, from the Christian background. And I don't know if any of you have ever visited Rome. No. And in Rome, they have the Sistine, the Sistine Chapel, where this picture behind is made. And on the Sistine Chapel, they have this picture along with other pictures describing the creation by God. So somebody, it means somebody in the Catholic hierarchy decided, this was probably in the 16th century, that God looked like this. Then later, you know, they had some differences of opinion about God because of these other things that are said in the Bible. And there was a whole movement that was called the iconoclastic movement. Have you ever heard of that? Anybody? Iconoclastics?
I have not heard. No.
Can you see this picture now?
Yeah, Prabhu, can you double click on that? Then it will become big.
Can you see?
No, I think it is opening somewhere else. We can see the icons, small icons, but not the whole picture.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry about this. Double click on that. Okay. Anyway, so you'll find that another branch of the Christian beliefs was that you really can't see the face of God, and usually you'll have pictures of God on a throne, and you see the lower part of the body, of legs and arms, and then the face is just a bright light. You follow? So so what happened during that period was there was a reaction to the idea, like this God is an old man there, according to the Catholics. And so there was a bunch of people that were going around and going into churches and smashing all the forms of God. You know, you think about that as being like a Muslims did in the Hindu temples. Well, a similar thing happened in the West also. It was called the iconoclastic movement. And the people said, no, you can't see the face of God. And why can't you see the face of God? Well, it's too bright. It's too bright. And we say, yes, that's true. It is too bright. Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukam tatvam pushna pavenu satya dharmaya dushteye. The devotee in the Ishopanishad prays, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. See, same idea. Kindly remove that effulgence so that it may see your real form of bliss. So why is the devotee not seeing the form of Krishna or Lord Chaitanya? They need more progress in devotional service, in bhakti. So both are true. There's God who's the source of unlimited universes, whose face is blinding, is putting out blinding light so that people can't see his face. But for those who have made progress in devotional service, they can actually understand that God is not just a person sitting on a throne or a white light, but as a person who can reciprocate with his devotees in full love. And Lord Chaitanya is someone who's coming as a God to teach us that point. The same understanding was reiterated later. We'll find when we read the Caitanya Caritamrta, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first took sannyas. Well, he only took sannyas once, but took sannyas, and that was his 24th year. And after taking sannyasi, his idea was to go directly to Vrindavan, but he was redirected to the house of Advaitacharya. And there he met his mother, Mother Sachi, who asked him, don't go to Vrindavan, it's too far. If you go to, where? Puri, isn't it? Puri.
Yeah,
Then I'll be able
Jagannath.
to hear about your activities, and sometimes you might be able to visit here. So Lord Chaitanya agreed. He went to Puri. And when he went to Puri, he stayed in Puri for 1 month before he went traveling to South India to liberate all the Vaishnavas in South India and others in South India. So why did he stay there in Puri for that month? Any ideas? No?
Because he's to fulfill his mother's wish.
Yeah, but for 1 month he stayed. What was that one? What did he do during that month?
Maybe that was the rainy season. I don't know.
Yes, but no. For that month, he stayed to liberate Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was posing as an impersonalist, a Jnani, who only appreciated, as we're saying, this white light effulgence. So Lord Chaitanya went to Puri, and when he arrived there, he went ahead of his companions. He was accompanied by Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Mukunda and others. So he went ahead, went into the temple of Jagannath, and when he saw Lord Jagannath, he experienced ecstasy, and he was in a trance, and he fell down on the temple room floor. So there's some chokidar. You say chokidar? You say chokidar? They're the watchmen or the guards there. How do you say it? Chokidar?
Chokidar.
There, thank you. So they thought, this is some rascal, he's making some show. So they were going to take their sticks and beat him, but Sarvabhauma happened to be there, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And he said, no, don't. And he had him taken to his house. And there he thought, wow, I'm worried this person might be actually had some kind of disease and died, because his stomach wasn't moving up and down like when you breathe. So he took a little cotton and put it at his nose, and he noticed, oh, he's actually breathing slightly. So he must be in a very exalted state of trance. Sudipti Sattvika, he said, only someone who is on a platform of very high love of God can be on this platform. So he was very appreciative of that. So then the other associates of Lord Chaitanya arrived, and they heard what had happened from some people who had witnessed what had gone on in the temple, Lord Chaitanya being in ecstasy and then being taken to Sarvabhauma's house. So they went to Sarvabhauma, and they happened to meet, just by chance, they happened to meet Sarvabhauma's brother-in-law, Gopinath Acharya, who was the husband of Sarvabhauma's sister. And he was from Bengal. Actually, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya himself was from Bengal, a place called Vidyanagar, not far from Navadvip in Nadia district. So he happened to be there. So he said, yeah, I know Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, let's go. So they went to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house, and they saw Lord Chaitanya. And they were very happy to see Lord Chaitanya. He said, no, let me take my so the devotees, they chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in Sankirtan, and that revived Lord Chaitanya, and they began dancing. So Sarvabhauma then offered his obeisances to Lord Chaitanya and took the dust from his feet, and he wanted to feed the devotees, so he sent them to see Lord Jagannath and then to to the ocean to take bath, and then he fed them Jagannath Prasadam. And while he was talking about Lord Chaitanya, he was saying, this sannyasi, he is, so attractive, so beautiful. How's it going to be possible for him to he's such a young person. how will he be able to maintain his sannyas vows? Huh? So Gopinath Acharya and the other devotees are a little bit disturbed by that. But Sarvabhauma Acharya, he said, better thing is, I like his name, Krishna, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, but the Chaitanya I'm not so wild about. On one hand, it's nice because Chaitanya means he remains the servant of his sannyasi guru. Chaitanya is a name for a brahmachari who serves a sannyasi by the name Bharati. But it's a lower class brahmachari name. Real first class swamis are saraswatis or ashrams or tirthas. And so better I teach him Vedanta, and so he gets more fixed up in knowledge, and then I'll initiate him into the Saraswati line of sannyasis. So when the devotees heard that, they said, this is nonsense. You don't understand. Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source, like said here, the source of all emanations. And he's not dependent on any social convention. He's beyond all the social conventions, not only of Savarnashram and Sannyas, but everything. So Sarvabhauma's student said, I don't think so. Where's your evidence of that? Where's your evidence of that? And then Sarvabhauma said, yeah, God, the Vedas say that God appears only in 3 yugas, 3 yuga avatar, Satya, Treta, and Dvapara. And in Kali Yuga, there's no incarnation. So then Gopinath Acharya says, actually, you think you're a very learned person and knowing all the Vedas Shastras. Actually, Sarvabhauma was incredibly learned. He had thousands of disciples and was renowned all over India as the Raj Pandit there in Puri, very important place. But he said, but you don't know the basic things. Bhagavata, Bharata, Dvi Shastra Pradhan. These 2 Shastras, the Bhagavata, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Mahabharata, they're the most important basic Shastras, and you have no idea what they are. And then he began quoting from the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Mahabharata to establish that Lord Chaitanya, as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is doing here, that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he quoted 2 verses. I'm sure you're familiar with the first verse. Krishna Varanam, Visha Krishnam, Sangopangastur Parshadam, Jagyaya Sankirtana Praya Yajanti Hi Sumedhasa. So this is a verse from the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where a great king hosted some sages, 9 sages, and he was asking them about various spiritual matters. And it got to a point where he asked, well, can you enumerate what are the incarnations of God for the different ages? So that was Karabhajana Muni did that. He has described that. And so then he asked, well, what about Kali Yuga? What about Kali? What's the incarnation of God during Kali Yuga? So at that time, he said this verse, Krishna Varanam Tvisha Krishnam. He has this incarnation is in the same category as Krishna. The word Varna. The word Varna is like, there's Varnashram Dharma. Varna is often referred to as category. Varna is category. So he's the same category as Krishna. Krishna Varanam. But Tvish, also, Varna can also mean Varna also means he's always chanting Krishna. Varna can mean Varnayati. He's always chanting Krishna. Krishna Varnam, Tvish Akrishnam. But his body, his Tvish, is not like Krishna's body, because Krishna's body was sham color. And Lord Chaitanya is Gauranga, Gaur Krishna. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam, Sango Pangashta Parshadim. And he's brought his weapons, which are like his associates. Nityananda, Advaita, Six Goswamis, Swarup Damodar, Jagyar Sankirtana Prayar Yajantihi Sumedhasa. And those people are really smart. They will engage in the congregational chanting of the holy names, which is the process of self-realization in this age. So he said that. Then he said the verse from Mahabharata, Suvarna Varna Hemango Varangas Changadagadi. He said this, he's got this beautiful, beautiful golden form. And then he said, but you know, Sarvabhauma, this is Gopinath Acharya, even if I quote all these verses, you're not going to understand it. You know why? You know why he's not going to understand it? Because you don't have a drop of mercy from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he quoted Lord Brahma. He said, Atapi te deva padambuja dvayam prashado leshanu grihita evahi janati tadvam bhagavan mahimno charan vichinvan charan ake eko bicharan vichinvan. He said, a person may go on speculating and trying to understand the Supreme Absolute Truth through speculation and trying to figure him out for hundreds and thousands of years, but they won't be successful. Who can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Only that person. You know what? You know what he said? You know what he said?
Who has the mercy of the Lord?
Prashado leshanu. Lesha means gets a drop of mercy. Gets a drop of mercy. That person can understand. And you don't have a drop of mercy. So therefore, I can quote all these verses from scripture, and you'll never get it, because you need to get a drop of mercy. So then we can understand. So the process of Krishna consciousness, of chanting the holy names, of serving the pure devotees, that is the method of getting that drop of mercy, so we can be able to understand and comprehend the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Another name for Krishna is Asamurdha. Nobody is greater than him. Adhokshaja. You know that word, Adhokshaja? Adhokshaja means he is Aksha means eyes. Aksha, and Ja means born from the eyes or perceived by the eyes. He's not perceived. He can't be perceived by the eyes. He can't be figured out. Adhokshaja. He can be perceived by those people he favors by his mercy. So this is very, very interesting points. So this Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is establishing Lord Chaitanya's identity as Krishna. And those same impersonalist philosophers, just like in they say, God in the Vedas, God has no ears, God has no eyes, God has no feet. Isn't it? It's true. It says that in the Vedas. But it also says God has eyes, God has ears, God has feet. You know that. So the Vedic Svetasvara Upanishad says, Pashyati achakshu. He sees, although he has no eyes. Pashyati achakshu, shunoti akarna. He hears, but he has no ears. How do we understand that? How do we understand the form of God? So we understand that his form is not a material form. His ears, when they say he has no ears, that means he has no material ears like us. When he has no eyes, he has no material eyes like us. When he has no feet, he has his feet are not like our feet. We can take a step and we stumble, we stub our toe. But Lord Krishna to take a step and cross the universe like he did as Vamanadev. So these are very interesting points that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is explaining, helping us to understand the identity of Lord Chaitanya as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Interesting point is that in Lord Chaitanya's early life, early pastimes, while he was in Navadvip, it was the practice at that time in India that Brahmanas, and they were very knowledgeable, they'd go door to door and they'd beg something. You know, the Brahmanas they'd be expert in Ayurvedic science or how to do yagyas or Jyotirved, astrological science. So one day, this astrologer by the name of Sarvavit, he came to the house of Lord Chaitanya, and he said, "Let me do your horoscope." So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Yes, you please tell me what I was in my previous life, because you know that's good to know what's going to happen now, past, present, and future. A good astrologer should be able to tell you those things: what's happening in the past, what's happening now, and what's happening in the future." So Lord Chaitanya, tell me what I was in my previous life. So that astrologer, Sarvagya, he immediately started making calculations to determine, you know, based on Lord Chaitanya's horoscope. And he was meditating. And as he was meditating, you know what he saw? You know what he saw? He saw this. He saw this. Lord Chaitanya was the source of all these emanations of all the different universes and planets and the Brahma Jyoti as well. And he said, you know, what? He said, my God, I understand that you're the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, you know, Lord Chaitanya said, he replied, you know what he replied? He said, well, I think you made a mistake. Because I know for a fact that in my last life, I was the son of a cowherd man. And now, because of the pious activities of protecting cows, I've gotten birth in this Brahmin family of Jagannath Mishra, like that. So anyway, this Sarvagya, he was very advanced devotee astrologer, so he could appreciate. So this is another showing of Lord Chaitanya's being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Beautiful pastimes. Very, very relishing. So at this point, we will ask devotees, if you have any questions, any comments, you can unmute yourself and ask, or you can put on the chat box, or you can also raise your hand if you want. Very, very nectarian pastime.
Did you know about that iconoclast stuff?
No.
It's very interesting. You can read about it, you know, on Wikipedia and all those stuff. It's a big deal. Because you have the Catholic idea of God. You saw, you know, those pictures of God there. This picture of God, you know, creating Adam and all that stuff. So they must have had some idea of a personal God. But then they got different sects. Go ahead.
It is so interesting to, you know, after hearing you, that all religions is different, bona fide religions, they all have the similar ideas. It's just the level of understanding is not complete there.
Yeah, they get mixed up on the way. They get mixed up. I mean, people say in the Christian religion, they say, some people still, they say, you know, especially those who are like Protestant types, say you can't see God. But then they say Jesus is God. So what about that? Didn't people see God? Or they have the face of God there? Anyway, it's all mixed up. So we're very, very fortunate that this has been cleared up by Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya and the great acharyas like Krishnadas Kaviraj to give us a clear idea. Otherwise, we had no idea. We were born in the darkness of ignorance completely.
And the last part was so interesting, very beautifully explained by you, Prabhu, that after hearing all those verses, I was just wondering how to understand those verses. And then you just hit on the nail that, you know, only way to understand is to get a drop of mercy. And
just a drop, yeah.
Yeah, and the method is just chant the names of Krishna and serve the devotees of the Lord, and hopefully we can get that mercy in the drop form and then understand.
So and it's very interesting then. Anyway, Lord Caitanya then said, no, so because the devotees were criticizing Sarvabhauma, said, you can't talk about Lord Caitanya that way. He said, no. He's taking a very paternal affect. This is out of paternal affection. He wants to teach me this thing. I have no problem with that. This paternal affection. So then he listened to Sarvabhauma for 7 days. And Sarvabhauma was spouting off impersonalist philosophy. So and then this was, later Lord Caitanya in the same, to Sarvabhauma said, by listening to the Mayavadi or the impersonal interpretation of Vedanta, everything is finished, right? Sarvanash, Mayavada Bhashya Shunite Sarahayanash. Everything's finished. But Lord Caitanya himself did it. Lord Caitanya was listening for 7 days. How's that? So this is an example of we can't follow, we can't imitate the great personalities, right? When Lord Krishna was a little baby, Mother he was there under the care of Mother Yashoda, and then there was a witch named Putana that came, isn't it? Kechari, and she smeared poison on her breast, and then Krishna sucked her breast and killed her. But she got where did she go afterwards? He accepted her motherly devotion, and he didn't. He was able to not be affected by the poison. So I'm not. There's this. You can make a similarity. Lord Caitanya is hearing this poisonous stuff, but he's accepting the paternal affection of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. You follow, and as a result, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya then becomes liberated. And then when they asked, Lord Caitanya said, the reason you got liberated is because, you know why? I'm favoring Gopinath Acharya because your brother-in-law wanted me to. Anyway, he got that drop of mercy that way, or more than a drop.
Very, very beautiful pastime, Prabhu. So much teachings over there. So it's almost 9:03.
Okay.
Anyone has any questions? We have quite a few devotees, but I'm sure they might be at work or busy with something else.
Okay.
But, if no questions, no comments, thank you so much, Prabhu,
Hare
for
Krishna.
inviting us. And we look forward to your classes soon in the future again.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you to all the devotees. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you all the devotees. Have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna.